Welcome to Special Stage. We've got another action-packed episode lined up for you, fresh from the world of UK rally and off-road racing. First off, we're here in Pontypridd in South Wales for round 2 at the Britpart MSA British Cross Country Championship, before we travel north to Welshpool for the SJR Motorsport Plains Rally. But now, the competition looks as fierce as ever for the 2011 BCCC title. So let's join the action on the stage.
Fastest out of the blocks from the start were Ian Rothschild and Chris Hammond, and with round 1 winner Tim Dilworth absent this weekend, they would at least have one less driver snapping at their heels. With a last-minute push to prep the car for round 1 costing them a result, it would be a welcome start for Martin Gold and Simon Kerfoot in second place at the start of the day. Richard Kershaw and Graham Broadbent were setting some good early times to put them in third. A disappointing end to a good run at round 1 was all Bob Seaman, and Neil Wakefield needed to spur them on here, 4th fastest after the first 2 runs. And showing good pace once again were Gordon Monaghan and Stephen Matthews in the RS200, 5th place. After mixed fortunes with the new car at round 1, Dan Lofthouse and Johnny Coonja were looking more promising here, starting with a 2nd fastest time, but settling in 6th place now. A slightly slower start for Justin and Louise Birchall, 7th place to start the day. With Ryan and Chris Cook finishing the first 2 runs of the day in 8th place in the Defender. Carl Duffield and Martin Conboy make a steady start in 9th place. And just rounding up the top 10 after 2 runs were Ian Bartlett and Justin Forden. In the Clubman event, it was Dave Marsh and Tony Harris in the lead at this stage in the QT Wildcat. Dave of QT here this weekend working on Project Mobility, which we'll tell you more about later in the show. Not competing in the championship full-time this year due to work commitments, Adrian Easton Bassett was here as a Clubman entry, 2nd place at this stage. Toby Jefferson and Julia Preston round off the top 3 Clubman crews after run 2. In the Trophy Rally, it will be Britpart's Paul Myers and Alex Littleton that open up the early lead. Greg Morris and Bob Moulding settle into an early 2nd place. While Tom and Richard Hipkiss round off the top 3 trophy entries. Over the next few runs of the day, Ian Rochelle and Chris Hammond would maintain their lead of the event. 27 seconds in the lead, but they were being hunted down run by run. The man chasing Rochelle down was 2009 champion Richard Kershaw, and with the Millington driver in his sights, he moves up into second place. This means that Martin Gold and Simon Kerfoot dropped down to third, and the gap to the front of the field was growing. Moving up a place after run 5 were Gordon Monaghan and Stephen Matthews in the RS200, getting used to the course now and posting some good times, now in 4th. Dan Lofthouse was also moving up and down the order on each run, settling for 5th at the end of run 5. Ryan and Chris Cook move up a few places from 8th to 6th. With Ian Bartlett and Justin Forden also climbing a few places up to 7th. Carl Gudgeon and Peter King had a slow start down in 20th place, but improved as the runs went on to move them up into 8th after run 5. Carl Duffield still remains in 9th after a brief venture up into 7th over the last couple of runs. And rounding out the top 10 now were Steve Smith and John Griffiths in the JRG Focus. Missing from the top 10 on stage 5 of course were Bob Seaman and Neil Wakefield, the car suffering problems in stage and causing the pair to take a maximum time. In the Clubmans, it was still QT's Dave Marsh who leads with a healthy margin. Range Rover driver Adrian Easton Bassett maintains his second place at this stage. All change in the trophy rally as Greg Morris jumps up into the lead after 5 runs, now with a decent margin for error. Tom and Richard Hipkiss also step up to the mark and into second place in the trophy rally. On to the final few runs of the day now, and still holding the lead were Ian Rochelle and Chris Hammond, an advantage now of just 20 seconds. Still closing in were Richard Kershaw and Graham Broadbent. A charge would be needed on day 2 though to try and get that win in the bag. Despite the large gap opening up to the top 2 now, Martin Gold was still best of the rest, 3rd place overnight. With Dan Lofthouse moving up another place now to end day 1 in 4th. Moving down a place though were Gordon Monaghan and Stephen Matthews in the RS200, ending day 1 in 5th. Carl Duffield finally seemed to be getting back on the pace towards the end of the day and moves up into 6th place. While Ryan and Chris Cook drop a place into 7th now, but still with a good few runs to get some of the places back on Sunday. Another pair to drop a place were Ian Bartlett and Justin Forden, now down in 8th place. Carl Gudgeon and Peter King, another crew to lose a place, and end day 1 in 9th. And new to the top 10 of the leaderboard now are Richard Green and Richard Griffiths in the Bowler Tomcat. This move up the order due in part to the demise of Phil Ibbotson and Will Jefferson. They had moved up to the top 10 on run 7, but sadly the gearbox would give up on this last stage of the day and force their retirement. Moving up to the lead of the clubman event at the end of the day is Adrian Eason Bassett, with a gap behind him, but not a comfortable one. Toby Jefferson and Julia Preston jump up a place into second at the end of the day. Dave Marsh and Tony Harris dropped down to third clubman at the end of the day's racing, and we caught up with Dave to talk about Project Mobility. Dropping out of the lead of the Trophy Rally after Run 5 were Greg Morris and Bob Moulding, leaving the lead of the Trophy Rally to Tom and Richard Hipkiss in the Tomcat. Paul Myers and Alex Littleton take up second place. As we move into day 2, there will be a few battles won and lost. Let's see how everyone got on. In the Freelander Challenge, it will be second place for Alistair Moore Myers and Martin Myers. Winners of the Freelander Challenge are Harry Sherrod and Paul Simmons. Two finishers in the Trophy Rally mean Paul Myers and Alex Littleton take the runner-up position at the end of 2 days competition, while Tom and Richard Hipkiss managed to hold on to their lead and take the win at round 2. In the clubman event on day 2, it will be Dave Marsh and Tony Harris who come out with the final podium place. Runner-up in the clubmans will be Adrian Eason Bassett in the Range Rover, a good result on his return to the championship, albeit as a clubman entry. But winners of the clubman rally this weekend are Toby Jefferson and Julia Preston, a result that would have seen them 13th overall in the main results. And on we go now to those main results, where Mike Moran and Claire Wood round off the main field in 16th place, second in their class though, a difficult but enjoyable weekend for the pair. Steve Smith and John Griffiths had an up and down weekend. Having been up around the top 10 on day 1, they finished in 15th overall, 4th in class. And 14th overall, 3rd in class were Paul Waldron and Simon Puddy, an improvement on their round 1 pace. Martin Cox and Paul Carson take 13th at the end of the event, second in their class in the Tornado. 12th overall and second in their class were Richard Green and Richard Griffiths, a few places dropped from their 10th place at the start of day 2. Ivan Dudley and Keith Tween in the Metro 6R4 seemed to be struggling this season and finished round 2 in 11th overall. 3rd in class though, a respectable result. Ryan and Chris Cook, meanwhile, were another crew to drop off in pace at the end of the event. Having been up in 6th at one point, they finished down in 10th at the end of day 2, 2nd in class. Another disappointing outing for Bob Seaman and Neil Wakefield, on the pace with a number of top 10 times all weekend, but problems holding them back into 9th overall. They do take a class win though. 8th overall and winners of their class are Ian Bartlett and Justin Forden in the 206. Improvement for Carl Gudgeon and Peter King as they step up to finish 7th overall and 2nd in their class. And after a slow start, Carl Duffield and Martin Conboy managed to hold on to their day 1 place of 6th overall and take the class win. After an epic battle at the top, Richard Kershaw's event would end with disappointment. Trading the lead with Rochelle going into the final stage, they retire with mechanical problems, giving them a maximum and dropping them to 5th overall. But a class win does help with the disappointment somewhat. Everyone above Kershaw is now promoted a place, and Gordon Monaghan finishes the event in 4th place, first in class in the RS200. Having been best of the rest on day 1, Martin Gold and Simon Kerfoot were knocked back a place on day 2, taking 3rd overall at the end of a difficult event. Showing that the new car was living up to the long-awaited hype, Dan Lofthouse and Johnny Coonja take the runner-up spot at round 2. A welcome return to the podium for Dan after the car wasn't quite ready for last season's racing. But winners of round 2 are a delighted and slightly emotional Ian Rochelle and Chris Hammond. Having fought for the win from the very start, they kept the car and themselves at 110% to take the first of Ian's BCCC wins. And the commitment could be seen from inside the car too, as we ride on board with the event winners. Next up, it's off to Forest Lodge in Scotland for round 3. In the meantime, we'll leave you with some highlights. Join us after the break for the SJR Motorsport Plains Rally.
It's good fun. It's good fun.
Welcome back to Special Stage. Stay tuned for all the action from round 4 of the BTRDA Rally Championship, the SJR Motorsport Plains Rally.
Up first, as always in the BTRDA order of things, let's take a look at the 1400 category. Fastest out of the blocks were Darren Pinchin and Karen Watts in the Proton. Fast is the word too, the pair opening up a 14-second lead over the first 2 stages. Justin Lawson and Paul Hargreaves move into second place, having been third after stage 1. A push on the second stage yielded good results. Clive Anstey and Tim Curry occupy third after stage 2. The gap to the lead cars now almost 40 seconds though, seemingly a mountain to climb just to manage that deficit. Dominic Scott and James Bailey pilot the lead MGZR in 4th place, 52 seconds off the lead. A close battle developing in the MGs as Marcel Freeling and Karen Robinson, just 1 second behind Scott going into stage 3, begin their chase. Heffin Lloyd Davies and Mark Lewis not to be discounted in this battle, the pair only a further 4 seconds behind in the Corsa. Seventh place belongs to Roger Priestnall and Jamie Forrest in the Proton Satria, another 4 seconds down on Davies. And in 8th place, continuing the strong form we've come to expect at the leading end of the Rally First category, are Ash Slights and Tom Hughes, a thrilling Rally First battle shaping up. The challengers to Slights and Hughes' supremacy were Chris Hellings and Glyn Thomas, 2 seconds down on Slights and pushing hard. Rounding off the top 10 are Martin Shaw and Ian Prout in the Mark II Escort, under a minute and a half now separating the whole of the top 10. As we move on to join the middle loop of stages, it is still a yellow Proton in the lead. Pinchin and Watts now with only 5 seconds advantage to second place Justin Lawson. Lawson and co-driver Paul Hargreaves are doing everything they can to close the gap. The Vauxhall pair really on a mission and with their work cut out for the afternoon. Clive Anstey remains third, the gap now over a minute to the lead, but the top few crews pulling away from the rest of the field, engaged in the battle of their own for the podium positions. No change for Dominic Scott and James Bailey in the leading MG, they remain in 4th place, while Marcel Freeling and Karen Robinson keep it lit, hot on the heels of Scott, but now 9 seconds down after stage 5. Effin Lloyd-Davies and Mark Lewis sit tight in 6th. A few seconds closer to Freeling now though, and their to-do list for the afternoon full of yellow MG. No change for Roger Priestnall and Jamie Forrest, the pair keeping Proton number 2 well within the top 10. 7th place and 2 minutes off the lead of the event. Chris Hellings pushes hard to move into the lead of the Rally First category, 8th place overall in the 1400s, which drops Yorkshireman Slights down a place. Just 1 second the gap, both crews pushing hard and both with their sights set on the victory. And still rounding off the top 10 at this stage of the rally are Martin Shaw and Ian Prout in the Escort. Let's have a look at how the 1400 category results came home. First, with a quick look at the 1400 class roundup, and in the Rally First 1 litre class, it would be a mirror of the overall results, with the top 2 in a battle of their own. Harry Morgan and Sasha Herriot emerging as runners-up, 10 seconds behind the similar micra of Ian Arden and Steve Coombs, who had another impressive victory to their tally. 1.4L would again be a similar story, with the top 2 over a minute ahead of the rest of the class. Jamie Turner and James Aldridge bringing home 2nd place at the end of the day. A close finish with a deficit of only 7 seconds to 1.4L winners Gethin Jones and Scott Poxon in the VW Polo. Only one finisher in 1.4S, so those honours go to Euro 7s and Dylan Lewis in the Nova. On to the top 10 now, and still rounding off the leaderboard at the end of the event were Martin Shaw and Ian Prout. Missing out on the Rally First 1.4 win in the MG were Chris Hellings and Glyn Thomas in 9th place. An entertaining battle, but not the outcome the MG pair would have wanted after tasting victory earlier on in the day. Roger Priestnall and Jamie Forrest drop a place over the last stages to finish in 8th place, just 2 seconds down on that 7th place they had held for most of the day. While Ash Slights and Tom Hughes claw back the Rally First 1.4 lead from Hellings to take the class win and also finish 7th overall. An impressive result for the reigning champions in the trusty Yaris. Marcel Freeling and Karen Robinson end the day in 6th place in the MG. While Heffin Lloyd-Davies and Mark Lewis take 5th in the Corsa. Dominic Scott and James Bailey walk away with the top MGZR honours and finish a respectable 4th place overall in the main 1400 field. The final podium place this weekend though belonged to Clive Anstey and Tim Curry from the start, keeping up the pace to take a solid 3rd place.
Clive, an interesting day. I think you've had a good result here with 3rd.
I think so. It was an interesting and eventful day, especially as last night we were still trying to fix the car and get it to actually run. We've had fuel problems, fuel starvation, the engine mounting's broken. The only thing it hasn't done is we haven't had a puncture, but and then massive jump through the woodyard, and I thought that was going to be it. I thought that was going to be the end of the rally, and we were going to finish on the in the woodyard as a DNF. But we're here. We've got it to the end. So hard day, but hopefully we've got a good result.
But the battle at the front had now pulled out over 2 minutes from the rest of the field. Pinchin and Lawson pushing each other hard, the results of which reflected in the stage times. Pinchin and co-driver Karen Watts would miss out on the win at the end of the day, taking 2nd place, but that's enough to vault them into the championship lead after this rally.
Darren, after leading for much of the rally, it was stage 5 I think when you lost the lead. Must be a bit disappointing, but you're still 2nd.
Yeah, a little disappointing. We had a little bit of a detour on stage 5, so we know what happened there, but no, all in all, we finished. We didn't last year, so we finished. We're here now. Second's good points for us, so that's good.
Any problems at all during the rally? Was there a lack of pace, or was Justin just a lot quicker on those last few stages?
I think he took a lot of risks this afternoon. I wasn't prepared to take as many as him, obviously. I think the tyres went off this afternoon. We've been playing with tyres, and I'm not quite sure if we had some, the tyres gone off a little bit, but he did take a lot of time out of us.
Well, risks are one thing, but if you're playing for a championship, then the points are important for you. So second is a good finish, isn't it?
Well, yeah, last year we went off trying too hard last year, and then we didn't get any points at all. So, this time, we've bagged some points, which that's what we need.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
But winners of the 1400 category this weekend were Justin Lawson and Paul Hargreaves, taking the lead on the penultimate stage to win by 13 seconds at the final time control.
Justin and Paul, what a fantastic rally for you today.
Yeah, it is. It really is. We had a steady start this morning, which meant that Darren actually took 17 seconds out of us before we got to service. And with only 3 stages left, I think we really decided that we were going to give him a big push and try our hardest. And Hafren was an absolutely amazing stage, really wonderful to drive. I don't think I've ever driven as well on a rally in that stage, and ultimately it set us up to really put the challenge onto him. And thankfully we carried on like that and have been able to get the win, so we're chuffed to bits.
And Paul, he took 17 out of you earlier on, Darren, but you took 17, I think, out of him on the last stage in the woodyard there. So you were on it all day, weren't you?
Yeah, mate. It was. I've never seen him drive as hard. It was extremely dangerous at times, but fun. It was flat out down the straights, which was unnerving, but enjoyed it. Really good.
Excellent. Well, congratulations, guys. You'll enjoy that, I'm sure.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
The BTRDA main field always promises a spectacular mix of incredible machinery and top drivers, and this entry lives up to that claim. With a good collection of victories already racking up this season, Andy Burton and Robin Kellard will be fastest off the mark once again, opening up a 6-second lead after stage 2 in the ever-popular Peugeot Cosworth. In a familiar battle for fans of the BTRDA series, Hugh Hunter and Andy Marchbank would be fighting hard for the lead with Burton, this time coming out second place at the start of the day in the ex-Colin McRae Focus World Rally car. Gaining more confidence and with it more speed in the new car, Roger Chilman and Andrew Sankey settle into an early 3rd place. Charlie Payne and Paul Spooner, meanwhile, in the newer model Focus WRC, make a good start too, in 4th place, 8 seconds down on Chilman. David Wright and Michael Wilkinson lead the B13 class away with 5th overall. A somewhat off-the-pace start for Paul Bird and Kirsty Riddick, 6th after stage 2, but just 1 second down on Wright in 5th with a long way to go. Bird keen to shake off the run of bad luck that he feels has prevented his appearance at the top of the results on recent outings. Nigel Griffiths and John Scott settle into a rhythm, a further 15 seconds back in 7th place, second of the B13 class runners at this early stage. And on a visit from Iceland, Daniel Sigurðsson teams up with Martin Brady, and the pair start well, currently lying in 8th place in the Evo 10. David Howells and Chris Ridge equal the time of Sigurðsson over these 2 stages and occupy 9th. While rounding off the top 10 at this stage are Patrick Naylor and Ian Lawrence, a mere 3 seconds further back. Onto the middle loop of the day now, and for Andy Burton his lead was still looking safe, but for how long was anyone's guess. Hugh Hunter was on a charge by now, taking back time from Burton, albeit only small chunks at a time. The advantage though, just 3 seconds now. Charlie Payne and Paul Spooner make a move up into 3rd due to the retirement of Roger Chilman, just 21 seconds off the lead now. while David Wright and Michael Wilkinson still head up the B13 class, an equal pains time overall. Further evidence of how close the competition is at the top of this series and how close to the limit the crews really are. Still a steady run for Paul Bird and Kirsty Riddick. Having not been here many times before, things weren't exactly going to plan at this stage. 5th place now, 4 seconds down on Wright and looking everywhere for ways of making up that time. Nigel Griffiths and John Scott move up into 6th place, pushing hard and their efforts bearing fruit at this point in the rally. While David Howells and Chris Ridge are also on a push, making up 2 places to finish stage 5 in 7th. Howells move up, push Daniel Sigurðsson down a place into 8th, but only just. 2 seconds separate him from taking the place back, and with no signs of slowing down and accepting his newfound position, it was all still to play for. Steady improvement results in a pickup in pace, and a move into the top 10 now for Alex Allingham and Mark Glenister. 9th after stage 5, and just 4 seconds between them and Sigurðsson. Another man to make the trip over from Manchester for the rally, Tom Norton equals Allingham's time overall and rounds off the top 10 with just 2 stages to go. Before we reveal the final overall positions, let's take a look at the class roundup for the main field. In Class N3, there will be 2 finishers, and in the runner-up spot, Matt Beebe and Rich Mills take the MG to within a minute and a half of class winners Damien Smith and Fraser Hutchinson in the Fiesta. Class B10 runners-up, Robert and Chris Wheeler in the VW Golf, would have a similar battle on their hands, finishing a minute and a half down on their nearest class rivals Ocean Price and Leston Williams in the Fiesta. Ocean getting to grips with his newer Fiesta R2, following his previous campaigns in a Fiesta ST. Boyd Kershaw and Brian Hull take the runner-up spot in Class B11, almost 2 minutes down on 1st place though, that silverware going to Mick Jones and Icelandic co-driver Isaac Gudjonsson, the pair finishing 2nd in the fight for 2-wheel drive honours. Mick's local knowledge, particularly of the Woodyard stage, must have made life easy for his co-driver across these fast stages.
Mick 2nd place at the end of a tough rally?
Yeah, it's been eventful for us, but good fun. The first stage, old Joe Price put it on its roof in front. We had to stop, so we've lost by less than we lost, but doesn't matter, that's rallying.
Your favourite stage today? I've heard they were fast.
Havering, without a doubt, Havering was the business. Except the only thing that took away a bit, Will beat me through there, so hats off to him, he deserves the win.
What about the car, any problems?
Only the clutch master cylinder went halfway through Gertain Yug, but that's just a minor problem.
Well, congratulations, 2nd is a good result today.
Yeah, it's good, I'm happy with it.
Thank you.
All right.
In B12, a bigger margin would define the class results, with Richard Felgate and Mark Mason coming out 2nd best in the BMW. 3.5 minutes down on the class winners Will Onions and Dave Williams, the pair winners of the 2-wheel drive category.
Will, congratulations, 1st place.
Well, I'm glad you said that. We weren't quite sure, really. We eased off a bit towards the end, and we were worried about eased off a bit too much. But yeah, we had good fun today. Good little battle with Mick.
Favourite stage?
Hafren. Yeah, Hafren and Route 60 are my 2 favourite stages in the British Isles.
Well, Mick Jones said that was his favourite stage too, but it was sport because you beat him through there.
Oh, well, there we go.
Congratulations.
Thanks a lot, cheers.
In the historics, it would be Stuart Clark and Andy Ballantyne taking the runner-up spot. The spectacular battle sees them lose out by only 30 seconds to Gareth Lloyd and Gareth Roberts in the similar Ford Escort. So we move on to the main results now, and making a decisive move into the top 10 at the last minute were Dylan Davies and Dale Furness in the Subaru, 3rd in Class N4. Daniel Sigurðsson and Martin Brady, still struggling to hang on, drop a further place to finish the event in 9th, 2nd though in N4. A big push from Woog and Max Utting sees the pair jump right up into 8th place, netting them the Class N4 win in the final stages of the rally in dramatic fashion. David Howells and Chris Ridge take home 3rd in class, 7th overall. While 2nd in the class and 6th overall are Nigel Griffiths and John Scott, a minute and a half off the lead however. Not quite the result they wanted, but a strong finish nevertheless as Paul Bird and Kirsty Riddick bring the focus home in 5th place. Only 4 seconds off clinching 4th, so they'll be rueing the fact that they ran out of stages to gather up that pace. In 4th place, and winning the B13 class, David Wright and Michael Wilkinson achieve a great result, surrounded by tough competition and some very advanced machinery. And maintaining the pace to hold on to 3rd place at the end of the event was a good result for Charlie Payne and Paul Spooner. 30 seconds off the lead by the time the crews arrived back at the finish. The main spectacle though came courtesy of the top 2 crews. Hugh Hunter and Andy Marchbank found themselves in the lead after stage 6, having pushed Burton hard all day. The lead was small though, leaving no margin for error, and a stall on the start line of the final stage would prove to be the deciding factor in the result. The Focus pair coming home runners-up after a riveting battle all day. Hunter bitterly disappointed to miss out on the win, but gracious as ever and motivated to keep the challenge up for the rest of the season.
Push you on. 30, flat right, and flat left, half long, to flat right 70, flat left, to long flat left then over crest, 150 through dip, to flat left 70, caution hairpin right tightens.
Hugh, you went into stage 7 4 seconds ahead of Burton. How did it go from there?
Not very well. We stalled on the line of the last stage and probably dropped 5 seconds probably. So I think having done all the hard work in Garthainog to get the lead, just to throw it away. Well, I think I've thrown it away. I'm just gutted, to be honest with you. So, but as I say, we still don't know. But I would imagine I've thrown it away.
Looking on the plus side, what a fantastic battle it's been all day.
It's been fantastic. You know, we did all the long stages with Andy today. The first one, Garthainog this morning, we did the same time. Havron, 11 miles, we did exactly the same time. So it's phenomenally close. Andy had a bit of bad luck this morning with when we all beat the bogey on the Dovey stage this morning. He actually took a few off me. So I guess it kind of evens itself out, really. I mean, bogeys are a bit of a pain, to be honest with you, you know. But
either way, a fantastic result.
It's been a great day. Stages were fantastic as well, really good.
Well, congratulations either way.
Thanks very much. Cheers. Cheers.
High drama right to the final stop line then, as the 2011 SJR Motorsport Plains Rally victory lands with Andy Burton and Robin Kellard. The lead at the end of the event just 5 seconds, a tribute to the close racing and deserved win for car and crew.
Andy, fighting right into the final stage, this one must mean a lot to you.
Well, what a rally, yeah. I honestly didn't think we were going to finish, let alone get that at the end, and it was 4 seconds in it. Hugh had 4 seconds up
into the last stage.
To the last stage. It was only a mile and a half stage. I thought we can't do it, and we were waiting behind him off the line. He stalled it, just stalled it for I don't know how many seconds. I said, Robin, we could do this, and then we did, which is great, absolutely unbelievable.
A close battle all day between you two as well. You know, you've been on each other's heels, haven't you?
Each rally this year is getting better and better, and I'm sure he will say the same, because we're so close. There's about 4 or 5 of us, and it can be any one of us, and it's who has the luck of the draw and who goes all well that day comes out on top, and it was just lucky it was our day today.
Well, it's great for the championship, and it's brilliant obviously for the cars last year in the sport.
Going better than it's ever gone, this car now. I'm not sure about the driver, but the car is, yeah.
Congratulations, fantastic result.
Thank you. Okay.
Well done, that's brilliant. That's all we've got time for in this episode of Special Stage. Thanks for watching, goodbye.